Hi everyone, it's Sunday, January 10th, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. The holiday period was pretty quiet across the globe, but we do start the year with some price changes in a number of the major regions. Europe was one of those places to see a few changes, but then none of them were really substantial. Editor Andrea Guallo says that although they're back to work, there hasn't been any major purchasing yet, and the tanneries aren't back in the market in a major way yet. In the UK, he says the trend is bullish and sellers are asking for more, but for right now, the price of the 36 plus ox is at £1 to £1 5 cents in sterling. Ireland saw steady prices, but demand there seems to be on the rise as well. Looking at European bulls, these have been seeing a few changes, but as we already said, it's just a few cents here and a few cents there, so not really anything significant. For instance, the reference price for the southern German large size is confirmed at €1.40 to €1.45 per kilo. So they're actually getting €1.42. Of course, sellers are asking even more than the reference price, but tanners aren't having it. The cow market was pretty much unchanged this week, and that's even though sellers there are also asking for higher prices. The lamb and the sheep sector has been pretty quiet, but then things are expected to intensify as tanners start looking for high-grade materials for the next winter season. And of course, it goes almost without saying that the demand is really only for the high-quality material and from those origins that are typically associated with really good hides and skins. In his analysis this week, Andrea looks at the low slaughter levels, the state of the offers, and what's going on with the increasing price requests. He also discusses the delay coming in the sale of goods for the spring and summer season in Europe. Looking at South America, prices in Brazil took another substantial jump this week. Editor Ronald Guiel says that the situation there is really complicated and slaughter is extremely low, and the consequent lack of quality hides is having an effect on the market. Of course, this means that raw material is still marching upward, and fresh hides are selling for $1.48 per kilo. Of course, this is in turn pushing wet blue higher, so TR1 is now selling for 98 cents per square foot. In other news from Brazil, registration is open for the upcoming digital edition of Inspira Mai, and recent virtual business rounds with other Latin countries yielded at least $1.2 million in business. Taking a look at elsewhere in Latin America, in Argentina, a group of local investors purchased the Fonseca tannery. Leather production in the country was down 5.5% in October, and the country's slaughter for the year is down 2%. Mexico's footwear exports collapsed by 20% in the first 10 months of 2020. Peru has launched an anti-dumping investigation against China's footwear products, and in Uruguay, 2 refrigerators are reopening. Last but certainly not least, we'll take a look at the U.S. market, which did not really see much change with regard to prices. Things were mostly steady, but a few popular selections did not hit the high levels they saw just before the holidays. And while no one really expects prices to drop significantly, sources say that pressure on branded material is definitely building. On the other hand, cows are still doing quite well with interest good and prices firm. With regard to heavy Texas steers, as is the norm lately, sales were few, but this week they were off $1 from the highs, selling at $29 to $30 for seasonal weights. Right now, the biggest issue for U.S. sellers is the problem with shipping. If they can get a spot on a ship, they might not be able to get containers, and this is really slowing down shipping and starting to cause some storage headaches. And while the U.S. is really significantly affected, the problem is actually global, and some of our sources in South America are starting to talk about the difficulties finding containers for hides and for chemicals. Turning to slaughter for the week, through Saturday, January 9th, the total was 651,000, which is up by 26% from the New Year holiday week total of 515,000. So the export report for the last week of the year was a total mess. A lot of the numbers were not matching up as they should. especially because it seems like they attached the chart from the last week of 2019 instead of 2020. Another issue for the week was a new website for reporting sales that had some glitches. So some sellers and producers weren't able to report their information at all. So this week we're only going to give you combined totals. Export sales were just 270,192, and combined shipments were 333,642. So that's the report from the first full week of the market in 2021. And until next week, good night from HideNet.